Hello, and welcome to the Designing with Love podcast. I am your host, Jackie Pellegrin, where my goal is to bring you information, tips, and tricks as an instructional designer. Hello, instructional designers and educators. Welcome to episode 105 of the Designing with Love podcast. In this episode, I'll help you navigate instructional design careers across industries so you can find your ideal fit and confidently land your next role. So, grab your notebook, a cup of coffee, and settle in as we explore this topic together. Before we jump in, I want to name something that a lot of us feel, especially when we're job searching or thinking about switching industries. Sometimes it's not that you're unqualified. It's that you're looking at a whole new landscape with a map that doesn't quite match the terrain. So today we're going to fix that. Think of this episode like a career GPS for instructional designers, because when you're using a GPS, you don't need to know every road in the city. You just need to know where you are, where you want to go, and what route actually fits your life. All right, let's plug in our destination and get moving. Okay, GPS step 1, you are here. Before you worry about which industry to jump into, you have to be clear on what you actually do best as an instructional designer, because industries change, but your strengths travel. So I want you to imagine you're looking at your career GPS screen. It's not asking you, what job title do you want? It's asking you, what do you want your work to feel like? Here are a few quick ways to define your ID identity. First, what are your always strengths? These are the skills you bring into every project, no matter what the topic. For example, simplifying complex information, building structure out of chaos, partnering with SMEs and pulling clarity out of their brains, writing clean learning objectives and aligning everything to them. Second, what's your preferred work mode? Do you love solo deep work, storyboarding, building, or refining? Or do you love collaborative work, facilitation, meetings, stakeholder alignment, rapid iteration? Third, what are your non-negotiables? And I mean real non-negotiables, not nice-to-haves. Things like remote or hybrid, stable schedule versus high-speed environment, mission-driven work, salary floor, benefits, growth opportunities, creativity, and autonomy. Here's a quick prompt you can pause and write down. If I could only be hired for one thing in instructional design, what would it be? And what proof do I have? And that proof might be a project result, feedback from stakeholders, a portfolio piece, or a story that shows your impact. All right, once you know where you are, the GPS can actually work. Now we've got to talk about what happens when you cross into a new region on the map. So, mile marker 2 is all about translation. Because here's the thing. In instructional design, the work is often similar across industries, but the language changes. And if you walk into a new industry speaking the wrong dialect, it can make you sound less experienced than you really are. Let's do a quick translation tour. In corporate, you might hear performance, KPIs, enablement, onboarding, compliance, learner efficiency, business impact. In higher ed, you might hear pedagogy, learning outcomes, accreditation, faculty support, student success metrics. In K through 12, you might hear standards alignment, differentiation, classroom constraints, parent communication. In healthcare, you might hear patient safety, SOPs, risk education, credentialing. In tech, you might hear product education, customer onboarding, in-app guidance, release updates, and feature adoption. Now, the key is this. You're not changing who you are. You're changing how you describe what you do. Here's the pro move I want you to remember. When you're switching industries, your resume and portfolio should mirror the language of that industry. So, if a job post repeats enablement 10 times and your resume only says training, you're missing a translation opportunity. Okay, Once you can speak the dialect, the next GPS question is, do I even like the roads in this area? Because the same job title can lead to very different day-to-day lives. Mile marker 3 is where a lot of people get surprised because instructional designer can mean e-learning developer, LMS administrator, project manager, facilitator, strategist, content editor, stakeholder wrangler, all of the above by Tuesday. So your career GPS needs to evaluate the route, not just the destination. Here are 3 environmental signals to look for. I call it pace, people, process. Signal 1, pace. Is it a startup style sprint where things change weekly? Or is it a semester-based rhythm where you can plan and build with more predictability? Signal 2, people. Are your stakeholders supportive and available? Or are you constantly chasing SMEs who have 5 minutes and a dream? Signal 3, process. Is there a clear workflow, intake, timeline, review cycles, QA? Or is it more like build it fast and we'll fix it later? None of these are automatically good or bad, but you want alignment. Because if you're a reflective, research-driven designer, a chaotic last-minute environment may drain you, even if the mission is great. And if you thrive under pressure and love rapid iteration, a slow process might feel suffocating. Now, once you've chosen the route you actually want to drive, you need to make sure you've got the right vehicle to show employers you can handle that terrain. That brings up your portfolio. Mile marker 4 is about one big idea. You don't need a brand new portfolio for every industry. You need a bridge portfolio that shows your skills transfer. Here's a quick note. If you want a step-by-step walkthrough on building a strong portfolio, go back and listen to episode 99, Step-by-Step Guide to Creating Your ID Portfolio. It pairs perfectly with this career GPS approach, especially when you're building a bridge case study for a new industry. So here's what makes a portfolio cross-industry strong. You're not just showing what you made, you're showing how you think. So consider including the following: a before and after redesign with your rationale, a storyboard plus a short prototype, a mini needs analysis snapshot, a simple measurement statement such as what changed after the learning solution. And here's a quick mindset shift. A portfolio doesn't have to be huge. It has to be clear. If you can show the problem, the audience, the constraints, along with your solution and the impact, you're doing better than most. Here's my favorite bridge trick. Take one case study and write it in 2 ways. Version A in corporate language, version B in education or nonprofit language. Same project, 2 translations. All right. Now that your GPS is set, your language is aligned, your route matches your energy, and your portfolio provides transfer, we're ready for the final mile marker, actually landing the role. This is the part that saves people time, stress, and burnout, because spray and pray applying, where you apply to everything, can drain your confidence fast. Instead, here's the career GPS strategy. Choose 2 to 3 industries to target for the next 30 to 60 days. Not forever, just for focus. Then, for each job you apply to, do the job post mirror method. Pull the top 6 repeated terms in the job posting. Reflect those terms back in your resume bullets and portfolio captions. Make it easy for the recruiter to connect the dots. And then there's networking, but we're keeping it non-cringy. Try one of these: informational interviews, alumni connections, professional communities, asking one thoughtful question in a LinkedIn post thread in that industry. And if networking is the part that makes you hesitate, I've got you. Go check out episode 101, Networking Tips That Advance Your ID Career. It'll help you build connections in a way that feels natural and actually supports your job search. Because your goal isn't to be everyone's perfect candidate. Your goal is to be someone's obvious choice. Let's do a quick real-life example. Say you're an instructional designer in corporate healthcare and you've worked on onboarding and compliance training. Now you want to move into higher education. At first glance, you might think, I don't have higher ed experience. But your career GPS would say, hold on, you have transferable experience. We just need to translate. So corporate onboarding becomes student orientation, faculty onboarding, program readiness. Corporate compliance becomes policy training, academic integrity, accessibility requirements, Title IX training. And corporate metrics becomes retention, completion, student satisfaction, accreditation evidence. Now, your bridge portfolio case might be titled From SOP to Student Success, Turning Complex Requirements into Clear Learning. And inside that case study, you show what the learner struggled with, how you simplified the content, what you built, and what improved. The work didn't change, the context and language did. All right, so if today's episode helped you, I want to give you something practical you can use right away. Be sure to make a copy of my ID Career GPS checklist. It will help you define your ID identity, translate your experience across industries, choose the environment that fits you, and target your next role with confidence. And if you're listening right now and thinking, okay, I know I need to switch industries, but I'm not sure where to start, this checklist will give you a clear next step. And I'd also love to hear from you. Send me a message or leave me a comment. What industry are you in now? And what industry are you curious about next? All right, let's wrap everything up. Today, we use the Career GPS to navigate instructional design careers across industries. In today's episode, we covered You Are Here, define your ID identity, translate the map, learn industry dialects, pick the route, match the environment, not just the title. Bridge mode, build a portfolio that shows transfer. Arrive confidently, target smart, and apply with intention. And here's what I want you to remember. You don't have to start over. You just have to translate and reposition what you already know. Before I conclude, here's an inspiring quote by Mahatma Gandhi. The future depends on what you do today. Thanks for spending this time with me. Until next time, keep designing with love. Thank you for taking some time to listen to this podcast episode today. Your support means the world to me. If you'd like to help keep the podcast going, you can share it with a friend or colleague, leave a heartfelt review, or offer a monetary contribution. Every act of support, big or small, makes a difference, and I'm truly thankful for you.